So we shut our doors at 9:15, meaning that if you're not here by 9:15, you gotta reschedule. So we're just waiting for a little bit. While we are waiting, I wanna give you all some ground rules, and that is, it's a key that is hanging up on the wall, on a red wall right above the sink is. That is the restroom key. The restroom is a door right to the left of this room here. So I wanted you all to know that is the bathroom key. Don't try to lock it. Don't lock it in the bathroom. What I mean is that the door was shut automatically, and if you forget to grab the key, then you lock the key in the restroom, so try not to do that. Another ground rule that I have is that all cell phones must be either off or on vibrate. I do not want you to disturb your neighbor from hearing this most invaluable information that you're going to get today. Also, another ground rule that we have is that this agency is a non-smoking agency. I have done this class in different ways. Sometimes people say, oh yeah, we need a break. Sometimes people say, no, keep going so we can get up out of here. So it all depends on you. After we get to a certain point, I will ask you all how you feel. However, if you do choose to take a break and you are a smoker, this agency is a free non-smoking agency. So if you do have to smoke, you have to go out our front door, go down the street a couple of blocks, make a right, and then make another left, go down that block. And then I'm gonna tell you all you only have 2 minutes for a break. So I'll let you all choose if you want to take a smoke break or not. So it's up to you. So what I'm writing on the board, I'm gonna take you all back to 1970 something or 80 something. And I think I got some 90 babies in here. But I'm gonna take you all back to where you was in school to let you all know that anytime a teacher writes something on the board, you better do what? Write it down. So in your folder, let me tell you exactly where you're gonna keep your notes. In your folder, on the left-hand side, all the way in the back. So this is the pamphlet. This is the pamphlet that you all should be looking at right now. On the back of this pamphlet, you see some lines. The line, yeah. Can you go around, make sure everybody got it? Make sure everybody. This is where you can keep notes. If you did not bring a notepad, you are more than welcome to take notes there. All right? So HUD recognizes us. If you ever should call HUD to tell them all the wonderful things about us, HUD recognizes us as Mo 198. Right now where you are is at Central Missouri Community Action and Central Missouri Community Action is doing business as Mid-Missouri Public Housing Agency. Our main phone number, and the phone number that will bring all of the housing staff, is 573-443-8706. And the extension that will bring all of housing staff phone is extension 1050. That means all of our phones will ring at the same time. However, and I'm getting ready to write down the housing staff, because maybe you are wanting to live in Cole County, and if you are, Amanda, which is here today, will be your caseworker. And again, she handles all Cole County, and her extension, if you just want to talk to her, is 1053. Another housing rep that we have, her name is Nicole. And she handles all of the rest of the counties. And the other rest of the counties will be Callaway, Cooper, Howard, Montauk, and Osage. Seems like I'm leaving off one, but I think I got them all. And if you ever wanted to talk to Nicole, and I'm going to just say all other counties, her extension is 1110. So again, if you're wanting to live in Cole County, Amanda would be your caseworker, and that is her extension. All other counties, and if you're interested in wanting to know what is all of the other counties, if you turn the pamphlet that I told you to take notes on, if you turn it to, can I use you as a I'm so sorry if I use you. On the front, down at the bottom, is listed all of the counties. So on this pamphlet that you are taking notes on, in the front, towards the bottom, lists all of the counties that we service. Is there anybody here that wants to live in Boone County? You want to put Boone County? Anybody else want to live in Columbia, Boone County? Anybody wants to live in Audrain, Mexico? Okay. I'm seeing some hand raised. Let me ask another question. Is there anyone here that will have someone else living with them over the age of 18 that is not here today? Okay. So for those that are wanting to live in Columbia, which is Boone County, or if you are wanting to live in Audrain County, Mexico, the city of Mexico, we do not service those areas. So you're in the wrong place. Is anybody leaving? All right, well, let's keep going. Another resource person I'm going to put on the board is myself, and I didn't even introduce myself to you all. I just started talking to you all in the hallway, making sure you all was COVID safe and all of that. Well, my name is Coletta Harvey, and I'm going to put my name on the board. Now, not a caseworker, if you want to call it that, but I am oversees the housing department. So you can contact me if you got any kind of housing issues. And as a bonus for everyone, I also do utility assistance. So if you got some utility needs, I am the person that you need to contact. And my extension is 1103. All right. It's very important. I tell people all the time, whenever you go somewhere in a professional setting, always try to grab you at least 3 to 5 contacts, names and numbers, because you never know when you're going to need those individuals. You never know. So, again, I can assist you with your housing needs and also your utility assistance if you are needing assistance with your utilities. All right. So did everybody get this on the board? I've seen some people run up and take pictures of it so they can make sure that they have it. You're more than welcome to do that. If you don't think that maybe you spelled everything or got it all down correctly, you're more than welcome to take a picture of it. But this is your contact information that you are going to need, especially when you want to get a hold of us. If you took a look, when you first came in, you signed in, I told you to grab a red folder and a pen. If you took a look at this red folder and saw how thick it was and said, are we finna go through all of this? Yes, we are. All right, but we're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it in a way whereas, number one, I'm going to be fast as the slowest person in the room. I like to do things all in decency and in order, meaning that we're gonna start at the top and go all the way and work down at the bottom. The first page that you should see in your folder on the right hand side, and before we even get going, first of all, I want to give a big thanks to Amanda and Doris in the back. Doris is the one who put these folders together, so I want to give a big thanks to them for giving you all that information, valuable information. So the first page that you should see, it should say personal declaration somewhere at the top. It looked exactly like this. This is the first page that we're going to start on. I want to explain this packet to you before you get to writing, so I can make sure that you are putting everything in the right spot and that you're not signing in the wrong spot. All right? So on this personal declaration, it does ask the first few lines of your name, your current address, and your current telephone number. And over here to the right, it asks if you are single, married, widow, etc. Now, towards the bottom, this is the reason why I want to explain this to you. Because towards the bottom, underneath where it says portability, you are going, in these boxes here, underneath section part 1, household members, you're going to make sure that you list yourself first. Make sure you list yourself first, and then all of the rest of the household members. And for you, mama, when the baby born, then that's when you put the baby information on, okay? I want you all to go ahead and continue to fill out this packet. Make sure that you read every question carefully. And yes, one of the questions says, have you ever been arrested? Yes, I want you to think back to 1978 when you jaywalked in California and you got arrested. I want to see that on here. Paraphernalia, I want to see it because we probably already see it anyway. And I want you all to know that everybody is clear. We did background checks with everybody, so we know that you all are all right, but we just need to have history. And one of these questions will ask if you ever got arrested for whatever, put it down, be very truthful. There, you may find a trick in this paperwork. I'm waiting to hear somebody to ask me about it. But let me know when you finish filling this out, meaning that you have signed and dated the last page. So you're going to go ahead now, fill out the personal declaration. You're going to make sure you put your current information up at the top, and down at the bottom, list yourself first and include all household members. Answer all of the questions within this packet, and on the very last sheet, you're going to sign and date it. Me and Amanda will be here to answer any questions you may have. All right, everybody, so you're going to keep on going to fill out this paperwork. I put items up here on the board that you are going to need to put in that plastic sleeve that I passed out, but still continue with the packet, the personal declaration that you are doing, and these are the items that you're going to put in that clear plastic along with your personal declaration when you are finished with it. When you are done with the personal declaration, go ahead and slide it in that clear plastic folder that I passed out, along with the information that's here on the board. We will do the same thing like last time. Wait until you finish with all of it. Go ahead and add these items to your clear plastic. Wave it in the air when you're done, and we'll come around and collect, but we'll know you're done. We're not going to collect it just yet, so at least we know you're done. Items in your plastic folder, and if you already placed the personal declaration that we just filled out also in that folder, the next paperwork that we will talk about has attachment 3 as the title. Again, please make sure that you put your personal declaration in your plastic sleeve along with your along with the items here. Forgot one thing. Some of you here may have, not too sure, I don't know who it is, but if you have a homeless letter, I need that as well. That ain't gonna work. This needs to tone down. Not too sure if anyone here who has, but if you were told that you needed a homeless letter, we need that. All right, I'm going to ask if everyone do not move ahead, work ahead, because you will find yourself signing in places that you are not supposed to. As I mentioned when we first started, that I'm going to be the slowest person. I'm going to be as fast as the slowest person in the room. I have done these meetings, I want to say maybe over 100 now, and every now and then, I get on a roll and I get to talking really fast. Let me know if anytime that I need to start slow down, that I will, okay? I'm from Chicago, and so sometimes that's just the way we talk. And so therefore I can just tell you all, y'all fill out the piece of paper, make sure you do and you'd be like, what? So just let me know at any time if I get to start talking a little bit too fast, I'll slow it down. Right? So the next paper that we have is attachment 3. Does everybody have that? Does everybody have attachment 3 that was in your folder? Because if not, boy, Doris. I'm sure she did good. All right, attachment 3. Let's go ahead and let's dive into it. Attachment 3 says, I/we certify that the information given to Mid-Missouri Public Housing Agency on the household composition, income, net family assets, and allowance and deduction is accurate and complete to the best of my/our knowledge. And I/we also understand that false statements or information are grounds for termination of housing assistance and termination of tenancy. If you all understand that all of the information that you give us today must be true and accurate to the best of your knowledge, I need the head of household to sign and date the top line and the co-spouse to sign and date the line underneath that. So the head of household is signing and dating on the top line, and the co-head is signing and dating the second line. After that, there is an attachment 4. Does everybody see attachment 4 in the middle of the page? All right, let me read the first statement. It says, I certify that the information given to Mid-Missouri Public Housing Agency by the household of, this is where the household writes their name. So you're going to go ahead and write your name or number 1. Again, stating that you are giving us the correct income information, and all the other information that we ask for is accurate and true to the best of your knowledge. After you have placed your name in spot 1, turn the page. All right. Let me explain how this next page is, how it works before you fill it out. All right. So sometimes when we need to get an answer from you, a quick one, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call you. But however, maybe it's not so quick, or maybe this type of society changes their phone numbers like so much, right? It changes their phone number. So let's say I wanted to call you, get a quick answer from you, but I was not able to get a hold of you. This is the form that you will write, letting me know who else I can contact if I cannot get a hold of you. Now, maybe you in this room don't have anyone to put down as an emergency contact, and that you keep all of your business to yourself and you don't share your information with no one. Then what you would do is check mark this box. Check mark this box up here at the top. Yeah. So what you would do is that you right now is going to write your name up at the top, your mailing address, and your phone number. Then the next line, it asks for name of additional contact person or organization. If you have someone that you wouldn't mind us contacting, just in case we couldn't get a hold of you, this is where you will write down that person's name and their address. If you don't have the address or email, that's fine, but at least we'll need a phone number. Then you're going to check mark in the boxes everything that you wouldn't mind us talking to them about and sign and date. But again, if you do not have anyone that you want us to talk to, that's fine. You just check mark this box in the upper left and sign and date. I know if I had to fill out this form, I'd be like, call my mom or, my caseworker, call them. But again, we normally correspond with letters, but sometimes we just may need a quick answer, so therefore we will pick up the phone and call you. And this form will let us know if we are unable to get a hold of you, who we can contact that will give you a message. So you're going to check mark the box that's in the upper left-hand corner, and then you're going to sign the date at the bottom. And you are more than welcome to change this at any time. All right? Or update it, shall I say, at any time. All right. I know when you are done with this page, when I know that you are looking at the debts owed paperwork. All right. So you see, everything has to be in decency and order. We all got to be on the same page. That's just the way I work. All right, debts owed. Let's talk about this. First of all, I want to say that all of my examples that you're going to hear me say today are true. Okay, you may think that, wow, where you get that from? But this is really true scenarios that I'm going to give you throughout the rest of the day. Debts owed. Well, I want everybody to know that we've looked each and every one of you up in the debts owed database that HUD has, and we know that you currently do not have a debt. That's the reason why we invited you here today, because there is no debt on you right now in the HUD database. But let's say that you moved out of Jeff City Housing Authority on the end of the month, housed up with us, and then they finally decide to do their walkthrough 15 days later after you've been there. And let's say they give us a statement telling us that you took the stove and the refrigerator with you. All right. So now they say that you owe them $1,000, $500 for each appliances. If I should get any notification from another PHA saying that you owe them, this statement says I'm supposed to kick you off right away. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is, because we're in our business of housing folks, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to get into some type of payment agreement or payment arrangement, make your payments on time to pay off whatever debt that you owe. I'm not just going to remove you just because you have a debt owed that popped up after you left there, but I'm going to make sure that you do pay it back and become in good standards in order for you to stay with us. So that's how that happened. If you are here, you understand that you cannot owe another PHA and be on our program. I need you to go ahead and flip to the back of this down at the bottom, and I need you to sign, print, and date. And I'm not looking, for those of you putting your bank statement, I'm not looking at how many times you have visited Luke Liquors or any liquor store. I'm not looking at that. Okay, only thing that we're looking for would be, let's say that you getting steady income, maybe like from Uber or something. If we could see that, then we would ask about it. All right, so it looked like I said, it looked like rest in peace from a distance, but it's not. It is a EIV system. In this EIV system, what it does, you know, when you get a job, you have to fill out those W-4 paperwork for your taxes. Anytime you do that, it will appear on this report. All right? So let me tell you all the secret, and I don't tell nobody my secrets. But one good thing about you having me as a resource is that I too was on Section 8. I was on Section 8 for 20 years. I lost my Section 8, okay? So what I'm doing today is making sure that you know what your rights are, so the same thing won't happen to you, all right? So this EIV system, it lets us know every time you fill out one of them W-4 forms to turn it in, like you receive new employment, it will let us know. You, and this is something y'all gonna write down, for this EIV system, I'm warning you, you have, and don't talk about me because I'm left-handed. I see my guy in the back left-handed too, so don't talk about us. What that say?
10 days.
You have 10 days to report any time that your income goes up or down. You got 10 days to report it. All right, go ahead.
So does that mean Social Security? Just if you have a job?
Great answer.
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah.
So what I want to say is that increase that you get at the beginning of the year in January, I don't want to know about that.
Okay.
But however, if you do start a new employment, maybe part-time, 1 day a week, I wanna know about that.
I won't be working on 80.
It's okay. Mama, you might find
I
something.
had those days.
Yeah, oh, well, you know what, I already thought I'm gonna introduce you to a lady named Julie already before you leave here today, so, yeah. All right, EIV system. When you fill out a W-4, sign it, turn it in to the employer so you can start working. It hits this system. So, I've been here for, right now, 16 and a half years now, as I've been here. So I've worked here since 2005. Well, I started working at break time, and I went in for my recertification, and my caseworker at the time said, oh yeah, you got your CMCA check stubs, good, I'm glad you got them, but where's your MFA oil? How did you know about that? So I got caught up. I do not want you all to have to go through the same thing. That's why I want you to know right now that anytime your income go up or go down, you must report it to your caseworker. Your caseworker also will get a notification of even when you even start your employment. That system is delayed some. Don't let that system tell us that you have income without you telling us first. I want to hear from you first. Miss Coletta, I went and got arrested last night. Yeah, tell me first. Because we always flipping through mobile patrol and Como mug shots, and we rather hear from you first, put it that way, with everything. Let's flip to the back of this form. On the back of it, it has numbers 1 through 5. Let's talk about those. Number 1, if you are lying and fail to give us notification of your income, you may find yourself being evicted, termination of assistance. Does everybody follow me? Mm-hmm. Number 3, repayment of rent that you should have paid had you reported your income correctly. Number 4, you'll be prohibited from receiving future rental assistance for a period up to 10 years. And number 5, saying that you're going to be fined and go to jail for 10 grand. I don't know about any one of you all, but I ain't got that money and I don't have that time. All right? Everybody with me? If you too feel the same way and know that you must report your income or else you'll be penalized with number 1 through 5, I need you to sign and date the bottom of that page. Again, it's not worth it. Don't lie about having extra income. I have a software and some smart ladies that will put in figures of how much you made to determine how much you should have paid. And it will send you a letter telling you paid. All right, once you've signed a date, I want you to go ahead and turn to the next page. The next page should say authorization for release of information. Is that right? All right, so now this is one of HUD forms. I want you to go ahead and turn it over to the back. And on the back of it, the head of household is supposed to sign and date and put in their social security number. And then the spouse will sign and date underneath that. Now let me explain what this form is. This is you telling HUD it is okay for us to get information regarding you on a third party matter, is what it is. Let's say for whatever reason that you had to go to rehab, and I'm not talking about drugs, or it could be physical rehab or what have you, but you had to go away, and let's say it's doing your recertification time. By you filling this out, you are telling HUD that it is okay for us to go ahead and get the information from, let's say maybe I needed child care information. Then I would send a request for child care to tell me how much you've been paying so I can add that to your file. So again, this form here is a HUD form letting us know that you sign it is letting us know that we are okay to go ahead and get third-party information. And HUD too will be looking for this form signed in everybody's file. So again, go ahead, head of household, sign and date the top line, put your social security number in underneath that, and then the spouse will sign and date. I know when you've done that, when you've turned and have your paper on the next page. On this next page, this is actually the form that we will send. I'm sorry, let's wait a minute. This is the paperwork that we will actually send to the place that we are requesting information from. Our agency will fill out the top of this, and we will address it to whomever we are needing the information from. However, you right now, down at the bottom, the head of household is going to fill out the top box, and then the spouse is going to fill out the bottom box on the left-hand side. And again, we are down at the bottom. Down at the bottom, the head of household will fill it in at the top box, and then the spouse will fill in the box right underneath the head of household. And again, when we are requesting information, we will address it up here to the place that we are requesting information from. And this is the form that actually will go out when we are requesting information from you, for you. It could be that we need a bank statement, child support case number or something. All right. When you finish with this, you can know that you're done when you turn the page, and you should be at the back, the very back of this packet. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Yep. All right. Is everybody looking at the back? Okay. So, I don't know, I'm not going to ask, but if there's anyone here that is living in another PHA property, let's say that you're living in the projects with Jeff City Housing Authority, or maybe with Columbia Housing Authority. If you have ever been on someone's housing voucher, whether it was your own, your mom, grandma, aunties, I need you to put who gave them the voucher. So let's say you lived in Columbia Housing Authority. You're going to write Columbia Housing Authority name down. If you ever lived, let's say, Chicago Housing Authority, you're going to write their name down. But if you ever lived in another PHA's property, I need you to write their name, their address, and their city as much as you know. Sometimes people say, oh, I lived in Lafayette, Indiana. I was on my auntie's. Yeah, put it down. If you're not too sure what date, then we'll be putting in like the 1980-ish and stuff. All right. Once you put in up here at the top of what PHA that you belong to, or you used to have a voucher with, that is great. However, everybody here in this room, regardless, inside the box, you're going to fill out in the box your name, your social security number, everybody here, regardless if you had another PHA up top or not. But everyone in this box must write their name and social security number. And I'm just talking about the head of household. Yep. And I'm just talking about the head of household to write down their name and social security number on the inside of the box. And if you ever never lived in another PHA, for those that went ahead and put their name and social security number in the box, then down at below of this statement where it says signature of applicant and date, you sign and date there. I'm having you to do this because if I put in your social security number, you probably didn't even have an idea you might have been on somebody else's voucher, but it'll pop up. And so I'll be able to fill in the missing blank. Y'all are doing good. Yeah.
If my name pop up on somebody's voucher, I would love to know that.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well,
I can tell you that we looked up everyone that's sitting here in this room. We looked you up already. We looked you up, and if we did see that you were part of another PHA, we sent that PHA a letter asking what was your status like with them. Did you leave in good standards, bad standards? And if it was bad standards, we would have invited you. I think we had somebody that if we got bad standards, we can't invite you here. All right, so if you finish that and you sign the date in between the box, go ahead and put that in your plastic sleeve there that I passed out, your plastic folder.
Put it behind the other one.
Yep. How y'all feeling? Y'all feeling good? You want me to keep going? Okay, let's go. Here's the next one. The next packet that we're going to be doing is called Portability up at the top. It has the word portability up at the top. Is there anybody who does not have the packet that says portability? I gotta make sure Doris it does. Portability. Okay. Y'all ready? Everybody got portability? Is anybody missing it? Nope, it looks like we're ready. Okay. So, another true story. Still talking about myself, so don't tell nobody. So, it was 1995. I had my first child. I wasn't such a great person back in the day, but I knew it was time to change. I had a child now. So I told my mom, I'm leaving. I'm leaving, Mama. I'm going to Missouri. My plans was to leave leave Chicago. This was in 1995 to come down here and get my voucher because Section 8 place in Chicago was closed forever. Mm-hmm. But down here, you can get your voucher like that. So I came down here, moved down here, told my mom I'll be back. Well, y'all see what year it is? And I'm still here, okay? I realized going back to Chicago was not the option for me. But I want you to know that if you choose to do the portability, that how it is an option for you. All you have to do is just live in our jurisdiction for 1 year, and I can choose to port your voucher anywhere where you want to go in the U.S. Anywhere. Anybody want to go to New York? I can send you to New York. You want to go to Florida? I can send you there. However, there is 2 ways that I can send you. And again, for a port, to be considered to do a port, you must live in our jurisdiction for 1 year or show me proof that you lived in our jurisdiction for 1 year. And I can send you to any other PHA that'll be willing to accept your voucher as long as they are able to absorb. And I'm going to explain to you what absorb and billing means. All right. If you are wanting to port, you will contact the PHA of the area where you want to live. So let's say you want to go to St. Louis. I can't tell you which PHA for you to go to because I think it's like 3 or 4 of them in St. Louis. So you will find your own PHA of the area of where you want to live. That PHA must be willing to absorb your voucher. And absorb, I want you to think of it like of a sponge, where it will soak your voucher up and then you become one of theirs. Or they can bill. Right now, our agency is too small for billing, so they will have to be willing to absorb your voucher. If they say they're only billing, that means that they are taking your voucher, but it's going to bill us every month for having you there. And we cannot do that. So right now, if you ever wanted to port to somewhere else because you live in our jurisdiction for a year, that PHA must be willing to absorb your voucher in order for me to send you. When I send your voucher over to another PHA where you want to live, they have 2 weeks to contact you, and then they will give you one of their vouchers and instructions. All right? So I want everybody to know you don't have to be like me and stay here, which I'm going to do. I'm not going back. But porting is an option for you as long as you lived in our jurisdiction for how long, y'all? A year. Yep. And that the other PHA must be willing to absorb your voucher in order for me to send you because I'm too small or I cannot accept the billing right now. All right. If y'all understand the portability procedures just as easy, I just said it to you. I want you to sign and date the bottom line. Head of household would sign and date the top line, and the spouse would sign and date the bottom line. use that portability if you want to. If you're trying to get away, do it. So how that will work is whatever the PHA that you go to, whatever their rule is, they probably will have something similar where you will have to stay for a year in that jurisdiction before porting out. There is one exception to the staying in our jurisdiction for a year rule. And I'm going to write this up here. I'm going to write it up here just so I won't forget to talk about it. And because this is the one exception to staying in our jurisdiction for a year rule. And it's called VAWA. Can you all say VAWA?
Wow.
I'm going to explain to you what it is soon, but I wanted to write it on the board so I won't forget. All right? Because VAWAs is another exception where you would not have to stay in our jurisdiction for a year. Let's flip the page. And again, I'll explain to you in the details about VAWA. All right. This next one is tenant obligations. The tenant obligations, it lets you know, I want you all to know you have already done 1 and 2 of your tenant obligation. And this is stuff that you must do. Number 3, supply any information requested by the PHA to verify that the family is living in a unit or information related to a family absent from the unit. Let's say somebody has to go away, whether it was jail, maybe the hospital, whatever the case may be. Let us know if someone's going to be absent from the household, because maybe if they were like living in a facility, we would not count their income if you're not getting it. So let us know if anybody is not going to be in that you, when you first got your voucher, they were on your voucher, but then now all of a sudden they're not going to be there. Maybe they're a truck driver or something. But let us know if somebody who's not going to be, who's going to be absent from the unit at a period of time. Number 4, you want to promptly notify the PHA in writing when a family is away from the unit for an extended period of time in accordance with the PHA policy. I kind of just went over that. Number 5, allow the PHA to inspect the unit at a reasonable time after a reasonable notice. Didn't I tell y'all I used to be on Section 8? So I understand and I know I'm going to give you a notice within 2 weeks before we come out there. You're going to at least have 2 weeks notice. I remember of my years of being on Section 8, waiting until that last day and up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning trying to scrub. I understand and I know that. Just make sure that you finish. Don't go to sleep like what I did. I got up at midnight, thought I was going to scrub and have the house clean, but went to sleep. So don't do that, because then you will fail your inspection. All right, number 6, notify the PHA and the owner in writing before moving out the unit or terminating the lease. Now, hey, we hold you all to a very high standard. Do not abandon the unit. If you want to live somewhere else, just let us know and the landlord know, and not just abandon the unit, just up and leave. Let us know if you have no plans on being on Section 8 anymore. Also, use the assisted unit for residence by the family. The unit must be the family-only residence. True story. True story. I had a lady had a voucher and had a house in Jeff City, but we got to looking at her. What did we look at? We looked at something. Oh, we looked at that EIV system, and it showed us full-time hours and pay in Kansas City. So I had to ask the lady, how are you living in Jefferson City and getting full wages in Kansas City? I know you're not traveling back and forth. And then she finally came clean about that she left that house back in Jeff City as soon as she got it, was living somewhere else. So she had to repay back all the money that was paid onto her. I think it was at least about 18 grand.
Yeah.
It was 18 grand. We are your advocate. We are your advocate. And I understand there's always 2 sides to a story. And yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about that down here, but I can go and tell you now. Sometimes, just like number 11. Number 11 even talks about if the landlord gives you an eviction notice. Now, if the landlord gives you an eviction notice, then I am supposed to, by right, remove you from the program. But again, I understand there's 2 sides to a story. Landlord could have just woke up on a bad day, didn't have that extra money for somebody else. and now it's gonna pull it and gonna blame you for it. No, I don't take that. If the landlord is not fixing things in the unit, we have zero tolerance for that. And I'm gonna talk to you all about that in just a few. So yeah, I got your concerns all right here in this packet. And everyone will be leaving out of here today knowing everything. So that's a good question. But yeah, it's coming up. All right, so anytime that you have number 8, anytime that you have an increase of household members, let's say you inherited your nieces and nephews, maybe because your brother or your sister wasn't doing so well, so now you inherited some kids. When that happened, let us know. There are steps that you have to do in order to make things legal. Steps like get permission from your landlord to increase the household members. And then we will also need to have the kids, Social Security cards, birth certificates, and so forth. And so we can add them on to your voucher is what we'll be doing. Number 9, request PHA written approval to add, that's what I'm just talking about, to add any family member as an occupant in the unit. So again, you gotta be put in writing. We just gotta make things legal. I can't stress that enough. Like, if it's not right, I'm not putting my name on it. So it has to be right. Okay, it has to be right. Number 10, properly notify the PHA in writing if a family member no longer lives in the unit. So a husband and wife, somebody moves out, let us know. Number 11, give the PHA a copy of the owner eviction notice. And I think I just talked about that a little bit. If you get an eviction notice, you are supposed to tell us right away. We technically supposed to remove you from the program. I understand there's 2 sides to the story. I'm going to get down to the bottom of it and see what other option can be done. Number 12, pay your utility bills and supply appliances the owner is not required to supply under the lease. Now, when it says to pay your utility bills, at any time that your utilities are off in a 24-hour, you're removed from the program. However, once you do get your disconnection notice or you know you're in threat with your utilities, what are you going to do?
Call Coletta. Are you saying that?
Coletta, you got it.
Coletta.
Yeah, you're going to call me. Do not sit there and let your lights get up and turned off. Once you get a disconnection notice, and I know you're probably like, oh, I'm going to pay it. Oh, I'm going to get the money. And you may think you're going to get it, but let me know right away. That way I can help you. I'd rather for you, if we have utility assistance, I'd rather for us to use utility assistance for your bill. That way you can save your money and spend it on other things that you may need, like medicine or food, whatever kind of clothes, So I'd rather for you to save your money for that and then let me handle your utility assistance needs. All right, y'all. Down at the bottom talks about things you should not do. Capital N, capital O, capital T. So here's some of the things you shouldn't do. You shouldn't own or have any interest in the unit. So this is not a rent-to-own program. It's not. We don't have that. And you cannot tell your landlord, oh, well, I've been here for 10 years and Section 8 has been paying this amount of money, so this house is now mine. Mm-hmm. No, you can't do that either. Number 2, commit any serious or repeated violation of the lease. If the landlord has in that lease to turn the music down at 9:59 and here it is at 10:15, you got it cranked up on 50. Maybe that's just my house, but you will be violating your lease if so. The landlord says no in and out traffic and all of that. So pay attention. Make sure you read the lease. That way you know what you cannot do or what the landlord is looking for you to do. Number 3, commit fraud, bribery, or any corrupt or criminal act in connection with the program. Don't do it. Somebody else has already tried it. We've seen it. Don't do it. And you're going to hear me say the word fraud like 32 more times after this one. Number 4, engage in drug-related criminal activity or violent criminal activity or other criminal activity that threatens the health, safety, or right of peaceful enjoyment of other residents, persons residing in the immediate vicinity of the premises. True story, Jeff City. I had a lady who, her son lived somewhere else, but her son came down to the mama's house. I guess mama was cooking or whatever. So the son came down. Well, when the son came to visit the mom, the son went outside because his baby mama, do y'all know what I mean when I say baby mama? Okay. So the mother and his child came down too. Well, something happened between the son and the mother and his child where they got into it. They got into it so bad that the mother that was holding the son's child, called 911, made a report because the son roughed her up a little bit. All right. Report was made. Well, the next day, the baby mama, the mother of the child, came back with her sisters and cousin, and they didn't come. There was over 23 shells casings that was found at the scene. Not only did, and I have pictures too, not only did they was shooting through the house where they broke the big double frame window, they had bullets holes in the living room on its way to the kitchen. And in addition, the people who lived to the left and the right houses too got shot, including their vehicles. So you know what happened? I wrote her a letter, and I highlighted this number 4. Now the lady told me, she said, Coletta, I wasn't there. I was at Walmart, and it was my son. It wasn't me. Then she changed the story to say, yes, she was there because she had to crunch down with her daughter who was at the computer where the bullet had lodged right. I mean, if the daughter was maybe an inch higher, she would have got hit, right? So she told me she found that she was there. The only thing that I can tell her, and I'm so sorry, was it happened at your house. You are responsible for everything that goes on underneath your roof, whether you're there or not. In addition, your address should never appear on CaseNet. Do y'all know what I mean by CaseNet? Anybody here? Okay, CaseNet, if you don't know, anytime you get in any trouble, it's public knowledge. You can go to it and see it. So your address should never appear on CaseNet, on the news, and including your picture, all right? If something happened the night before, I would expect to get a phone call the next morning. Like for instance, something happened in Jeff City, it was a carnival deal, people got to fighting, then somebody blew up a couple people's houses. They called and told us what was happening before we seen it on the news, so please let us know what's going on, all right? It's very important. Number 5, do not sublet the unit, assign a lease, or transfer of the unit. So no such thing as if we helping you with the unit in Jeff City, but you done moved back to wherever, but you're telling your friends, yeah, you can live there, just pay me, when housing is already paying 100% of the rent. Don't do it, all right? Well, like I said, I'm already from Chicago, so I know a lot of the schemes and the scams that can happen, so just don't do it. Because Missouri will blast you, put you, your face, the age, address, everything on the news, so don't do it. Number 6, receiving housing choice program, housing assistance while residing in another housing subsidy for the same unit or a different unit. Like I mentioned that. You cannot live in Jeff City Housing Authority projects and be on our program at the same time. You can't. Number 7, damage of the unit or the premises other than the damage of the ordinary wear and tear, or permit any guests to damage the unit or premises. So I tell people, when you first get into your unit, get you a newspaper so the newspaper can be seen in the unit so you know what date it is, and go around and record your unit right before you move in. That way you know exactly how it should look when you move out. Okay? Record the unit when you first get in and when you leave out. Record the unit. Okay? Do that. Number 8, receive housing choice voucher program assistance while residing in a unit owned by a parent. So if your mom or dad is the landlord, no, you cannot rent from them. However, if you have a reasonable accommodations, reason why you have to, I would need a doctor's statement letting me know. I got 2 people right now that's living in, no, one now, that is living in a family-owned unit. That is because this person cannot go outside and they need their family help to do things, to do certain things. So that's the only reasonable accommodation that I've made where someone is living in a unit that is owned by a parent. Number 9, do not engage in alcohol, y'all, that threatens the health and the safety of the right of peaceful enjoyment. Sometimes, you know, when the party is getting a little bit out of hand, everybody done sipped a little bit too much, stumbling, trying to get to the bathroom, or maybe want to run down the hall, run down the street, yelling stuff because they're a little bit too tipsy. This is an indication that you need to turn the party off. Because like I said, everything that goes on underneath your roof, your friends, your company, outside, disturbing others, is on you. Don't tell me that you didn't know that if you had your uncle over and the PCP walk down the street butt naked, that's on you, okay? It happens. This is true stories. True stories. All right. If you understand your do's and don'ts, and you know for a fact that you are not gonna, you know your do's and don'ts now, go ahead and sign and date the bottom line, the middle line. And you assign a date in the middle line of the line, you can see wife, sign and date the bottom line where it says PH signature, just scratch out PHA. But yeah, these are real true stories, you all. I told you it was gonna blow your mind.
Restroom.
Yeah. How's everybody feeling? Y'all feeling good? It's raining outside. Y'all don't want to go take that 5 mile walk, smoke break? Okay, well then we're gonna the next page you should see says informal hearing. Is that right? Good. So remember I told you about the lady who got her house shut up? I wrote her a letter. Told her the reason why she's being removed from the program. I had the 911 statement, what else I had? I had a whole bunch of statements from the police department of what had happened, even the day before what happened that led up to the incidents of the shooting. So we received all those evidence. And I told her in the letter, hey, you know, I'm sorry I got to remove you from the program. I highlighted number 4 that she signed, like how you all are signing, and I sent it to her. I was like, I'm sorry, but this cannot happen. And because the people that live next to you, you took their freedom, you took their safety away from them, I'm sorry, but I have to remove you from the program. All right, so I wrote that letter to her. At the bottom of my letter that I written to her, I said, you have 10 days to request an informal hearing if you disagree with my decision. Since it was me removing her, it was my boss name, who was the executive director, Darren Priest's name was at the bottom, that she could have written a letter to him requesting an informal hearing, okay? However, let's say you failed to recertify, and Amanda is telling you, hey, I need your recertification if you plan on staying in here for another year. Amanda and my team are good. What they would do was send you your paperwork around the 8th month, asking you if you're planning on staying there for the next year. At that time, around when you get this big thick packet from Amanda, if you or Nicole, and if you are deciding that you are wanting to move, either move within our jurisdiction or without, this is the time that you will let your caseworker know, so she would know how to treat your file. So if she's asking you for your recertification paperwork, she gives you 30 days for you to do it. And she also will have a deadline of when it's returned back. Let's say you do not return that paperwork back. You're going to get a letter from Amanda that says that you are being removed from the program because you failed to recertify. However, you have 10 days to request an informal hearing. And it will be my name at the bottom of you telling me the reason why you couldn't certify if you are wanting to do the informal hearing. I want you to know that anytime that you get a letter from us, especially if we are warning you or removing you, you always have a right to an informal hearing. You just have to put it in writing, requesting the informal hearing, and it has to hit my desk within 10 days, or my executive director, my boss's desk within 10 days if you're wanting to get a hearing, informal hearing. So that's how that works. I will always send you, if you request a hearing in writing, I will always send you the same paperwork that you're looking at right now, and giving you your procedures and letting you know what is needed. Now, anytime I remove you from a program, I must got maybe about this thing of evidence. And if it's something real bad, then I probably got this much of evidence. You are more than welcome to get any copies of whatever I have. I'm going to charge you for it though. But you are more than welcome to bring whatever in any legal representation that you want to do to this informal hearing. And again, I can give you copies of what I have, the reason why I'm removing you, but I'm going to charge you for it. All right. So if you understand that another right that you have is to request an informal hearing anytime that you disagree with whatever, I need you to go ahead and sign and date the top line, and I need your spouse to sign and date the middle line. And I know when you've done that, when you have turned the page. And what does it say up at the top? What's your page say? What's the name of it? HUD Fair Housing Notice? Okay. All right. All right, George, did good now. All right, HUD Fair Housing Notice is where you should be seeing. Now, even if you are not on Section 8 and you have any housing issues, whether you felt like you were being discriminated against, whether it was race, age, gender, or what have you, these are the two places that you will contact to let them know what is going on. Even if it's something against us as a PHA, your landlord, current landlord, future landlord, or whatever, or housing facility. If you have any housing issues, and again, you do not need to be on Section 8, you will need to contact these two individuals and let them know exactly what's going on. Okay, some more examples. You gotta love them. All right, it's been said that a it was a lady was in the shower. Landlord came knocking, but she didn't hear it. She's in the shower. Well, when she got out the shower, singing and being very happy, the landlord was standing there. She's like, what? Okay. It's been said that it was a husband and a wife sleeping in the bed there at night. It's at night, and all of a sudden the wife feels a strange presence and open up her eyes, and the landlord is looking down on her. Another one. Just one more that I can tell you about. The wife goes to work. The wife is the breadwinner. The husband stays home with the little kiddos, real small kiddos. Well, the wife going to work because the wife got to be there at 8 o'clock. But here it is, 9:30. The landlord's coming knocking and tugging on his shorts. Okay. If any of that happens, make sure that these are the two places that you're going to let us know, and we're going to also advocate for you with these two places to let them know. What they would do is not only is to investigate your claim, but other previous tenants as well to see if they had any certain actions that happened to them. Okay, so please, please, please do not say something. Please do say something and let us know if at any time that you are feeling any unwanted advantages going on or anything. If you are, like I said, if you feel like you're being discriminated against, sexual harassment, what have you, these are the two places that you will contact. All right, y'all got that? If you understand that these are the two places that you will contact, if any chances you feel discriminated against or have any unwanted advantages going towards you, why don't you go ahead and sign the date at the bottom. All right, so I think I told y'all gonna hear me say fraud, like now I'm probably down to 31 more time. Okay, here we go. Fraud, notice, that's what's here up at the top. The box towards the right is what pertains to you. Again, you already know how many days you got? 2 days to save your, have any guests or live-in guests. And if you have a change of income, you have 10 days. Now with that live-in guest or boyfriend or girlfriend, this is what I tell you. I cannot tell you cannot have overnight guests. You can, but if it's 14 or 15 consecutive days of being a guest, then they need to be on your voucher if they are living with you for more than 15 days. That's living with you instead of just being a guest. Now, I'm gonna tell you this, and Kelly, make sure you delete this one. But if you have a guest, they stay, your boyfriend come over 12 days, make sure he's gone by the 13th day and tell him come back next week, okay? You just cannot be 14 or 15 consecutive days because then they need to be on their voucher, all right? Now, the box that's over to the left, let's talk about it. The boxes to the left is when it is the landlord that is having some fraud going against the landlord. And fraud can be requested extra payments to the side. Like I had a lady in Jeff City who she was a family of 10. Everything was safe, so I'm gonna say something. She busted the window, she locked herself out of her house. She busted the window, took the smallest child, pushed him in the house so he can go unlock the door. Everybody was safe, the child was safe, didn't cut, no nothing. Well, the landlord drives by, he says, wow, my window is broken. What's wrong with that? So he immediately called us and called the tenant. It was like, what's going on? Why my window was busted? The landlord tells her, I want you to pay me $75 every month until I can fix this, until this window get fixed. So she's paying it. Well, come 6 months, she's like, I'm still paying him $75. He hasn't fixed it yet. And we're like, what? Please let us know at any time if the landlord is trying to ask you to pay them extra money than what we have already discussed, because that could be considered as fraud. Okay, so make sure you let us know if the landlord is trying to get extra money out of you, because it's considered as fraud of the landlord. Number 2, collect assistance payments for units that's not occupied by an HCV tenant. So let's say that you wrote a letter to him, told him you was leaving, and he never told us. And you never told us. We didn't know, but we still paying him rent. Well, once we found out when you had left the unit, then the landlord would be told to pay back the amount owed for when you had left the unit. Number 3, bribing employees. So we love this one. No such thing as the landlord doing us a favor, bringing us goodies for us to put a little extra on his rent or anything like that. We don't do any bribery, none whatsoever. And same thing with you. You cannot tell the landlord, hey, I done mowed your lawn for the past month. Where's my money? No. If you do work for the landlord, make sure you get it in writing. Just so the landlord won't say that he didn't pay, or whatever the arrangement is. If you do side jobs with the landlord, you want to make sure you get that in writing, exactly that you are cutting his yard and what for and why and stuff like that. And the same thing with you. You can't tell the landlord, oh, I watch your children when they get off the school bus. Hey, take $100 off my rent. Or, hey, landlord, I just made a Thanksgiving dinner. That's $100 off my rent. You can't do any of that. Let's talk about what would happen if you are found guilty of committing fraud. And it's right here in the middle. You can be evicted, repay back money that was paid on your behalf, fines up to 10 grand, be in prison for up to 5 years, and prohibited from receiving rental assistance in the future. Now, I don't know about you all, but I'm not going to be committing fraud. What about you? No? Okay. I seen everybody said no here in this room, so I want you to go ahead and sign and date the middle line. Head of household, sign and date the middle line, and spouse, sign and date the bottom. And again, do not commit fraud. Even if you think something that you're going to do is fraud, call me. So the next one is rental assistance payments. This page right here lets you know that if you're going to live where you're living at now, you're going to use your Section 8 where you live at now, that's fine, no problem. But however, if you are moving to a new location to use your Section 8 voucher, this statement here lets you know, do not move into the new location, not until you hear from us that it is okay for you to move to a different, for you to move in. Again, do not move into your new unit, not until you hear from us to move in. It could be times where this Section 8 is a business for the landlord, okay? Sometimes the landlord might say, oh, well, yeah, for inspection, all the utilities need to be on, so why don't you put the utilities on for the place to be inspected? No, it's the landlord's responsibility to make sure that those utilities are on so we can come out to inspect the home. Don't move in, again, not until you hear from us that it's okay. It's a couple of things that we need to do first in order to make your move in legal. So please, if you want to move to another location and use your Section 8 voucher there, please don't move in until we tell you to. And if you are going to use your Section 8 voucher or where you want to live, there is a packet that we're going to discuss at the end that you would give to your landlord where you're currently staying, that they would need to fill out and turn it into us, so then we can do our steps before we can let you know to move in, or that the HUD will start paying where you're living at. And those steps can be done within a day or two. So if you want to stay in, then do not move into a new Section 8 unit without letting us know, and that until we say that you are approved for the unit, will HUD start paying. I want you to go ahead and sign a date on the top line, and spouse, sign a date on the middle line. Second page, on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, it's a piece of paper that looks like this. I want you to get it out along with the packet that we're looking at. And I'm gonna come around and make sure that you all have it. And my girl found it on the right-hand side of her folder. On the right-hand side of your folder is a form up at the top that reads Housing Choice Voucher Extension Request Form. Voucher holder obligations. You see number 1? It starts talking about that you're going to give me a progress report. Y'all see that? Mm-hmm. This is something you're not going to do. You're not going to call me every time you're getting ready to go look at a place. Hey, Coletta, I got a place I'm going to look at tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and then another one tomorrow at 8, and later on today. No, you're not going to call me. What I want you to do, you see on the back of the paper that I just had you to go search for out of your red folder, where it says Voucher Extension Request Form, it got boxes on the back. This is where you're going to record the places that you are going to go look at, going to visit, going to call. You drove by it, because you know you're supposed to drive by the place that you want to move to at night so you can see the real neighborhood, right? So you're going to make a list and add more paper to it, okay? That is your voucher extension request form, is what that is. And just in case you need to ask for an extension, I'm going to ask you to show me proof of where you've looked. All right, so this one, your voucher, once you get your voucher, it's only good for 60 days. That's 2 months you got to go look for a place. So when you got our invite, if you haven't, start now getting your deposit money ready, because we do not do deposit. Get your application fee, because we don't do application fee either. Only thing that our agency can do is help you with the rent. All right? And I need you to know that your voucher is only good for 60 days. On this voucher extension...
Repeat that again, please.
Huh?
Could you repeat that again, please?
Yeah. Your housing voucher, once you get your voucher, it's only good for 60 days. You got 60 days to go and look for a place. A little less than that, and I'm going to explain why. On your voucher extension request form, on the front of it, it asks for you to write down, what's that, your name and address, that's fine. Towards the bottom of it, and this is nothing that you're going to fill out right now, y'all. Towards the bottom of it, it adds what was the reason behind that you can find a unit within 60 days, and you're going to write your explanation down. And you're going to sign a date. And don't forget to add additional paperwork if you need to of places where you looked. since your voucher is only good for 60 days, here come the 50th something day and you have not found anything, what are you gonna do?
Call
Get
me.
an extension.
You're gonna turn in this extension request form. So let me say it again. Here come your voucher's only good for 60 days. It's about to run out. On the 50th something day, I expect to see this voucher extension request form on my desk. If the 60 days come and go, you have not turned in an extension request form, then your voucher will automatically expire. And then you have to just start all over when you get ready to be on the program again. Are y'all following me? If you haven't found a place around the 50th something day, what you gonna do?
Request the extension.
Hmm?
I'm gonna request the extension.
You gonna request an extension. With that extension, I can give you additional 30 days. I'm very strict when it comes down to these extensions. So let me give you a couple of examples. I had a lady who lived over here in Newton, in she lived here in Columbia, and she wanted to move to Jeff City. And what she put at the bottom of the front page of the voucher extension request form was that it's December, I have no transportation, and my kids are in school. Denied. Okay. Let me tell you another one that I denied. True story. Lady said that every time she stood up, her bowels will move. Denied. Let me explain to you why I denied those. You do not have to go out searching physically to find a unit. You can find a unit in many different ways, such as looking at the internet, but be very careful when you do the internet so you don't get caught in a scam. Like, don't put any money down for something that you have not physically seen, okay? But there, you can call all day long and you can search that internet to find a place to live, okay? You do not need to physically go out there. So those are the reasons why I denied those, okay? Make sure that your information is filled in all the way if you ever turn in an extension request form, so I can give it to you. And again, you would get additional 30 days. And because I know COVID is still around, if you need another additional 30 days, you may get that as well too. We are in the business of housing folks, so it's very important that I see you housed. And if you are needing extra time, as long as you request it before it is too late, then I will give you that extra time if needed. So again, we're in the business of housing. I'm not gonna just remove you like I'm supposed to, but we're gonna talk about it. Go ahead.
Is a housing voucher, is there any Section 8 that's not in like the low income area, like the projects as you referred to a while ago?
Yeah. So Section 8 is any place, anywhere. You just gotta have a landlord that will be willing to accept it.
Okay.
That's all. And you don't have to necessarily be in a rundown area.
Yeah.
You know, you can find any landlord. They just have to be willing to accept your voucher. All right. Now, you all can go ahead and put away your voucher extension request form. Make sure you put it somewhere in your red folder so when you are needed to use it, if you are needed to use it, you know exactly where it is. And again, that is your voucher extension request form for if that you have not found a place around the 50th day, you're going to turn that in to request for an additional 30 days. All right. On this voucher holder obligation, which is the thick packet that we were working on, we're going to go right back and head it into this. And we're going to start back on number 2. Number 2 says to report changes. So let's say you leave out of here and maybe someone cut you off in traffic, you got a little road rage, you came out, shot, pop, 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 and then all of a sudden you go to jail. I need you to let me know that, okay? I need you to let me know of any changes that goes on. Let's say you leave out of here and all of a sudden you become a sex offender. I need you to tell me, because that does change your eligibility, okay? I need you to let me know anything that may change your availability. Maybe you left out of here and put the sneakers and the pop cans and everything in your pocketbook and forgot to pay for it. Let me know if you get caught and have to go to jail for any reason. So number 3, let you know, I need to know if any changes in income or any changes, like maybe you started committing fraud, food stamp fraud, you got called between now and before your house up, let me know. And again, if you are found to be on the sex offenders registry list, then you are, I hate to say banned, because that's a bad word, but you cannot get Section 8 if you are on the sex offenders list. We checked everybody in here, nobody's on the sex offenders list. Number 4, voucher extension policy. Y'all know about the voucher extension?
Yeah.
Okay, when are you gonna turn it in if you need it?
10 days before.
No, it's 60. It's before the 60-day mark.
Before the 60-day mark?
Yeah.
Okay, that's something
You
like
said
that.
50
It's
something.
60 for 50 something.
Yeah, I'm like 50 something, but 60 days.
All right. Okay, so you all know about that. Number 5, it says information provided to prospective landlord. So please do not give us as a reference to talk to another landlord on your behalf, because we won't. I won't do it. I believe in confidentiality. I'm not telling them anything. So don't have another landlord to try to get references from us, because I won't tell them. All right? Go ahead and sign the date at the bottom. So that was a lot of what you're not going to do on this page. All right. I know when you sign and date that, when you flip the page. All right. If your unit, the new unit that you're looking at, if it was built before 1978, it's a strong possibility that the paint has lead in it. In your book, on the left-hand side, you will have a pamphlet that speaks about lead to let you know all about the dangers of lead if digested. Okay, so you do have the flyer in your booklet. Let's pull it out so everybody can see. And it says protect your family from lead in your home. It says protect your family from lead in your home. This information here will let you know about the dangers of lead. If for whatever reason that you find out that your paint is chipping and peeling, please let the landlord know. And give the landlord a reasonable time to come out and make the necessary repair work. Let's talk about reasonable time, because I want you to do this with any repair work that you may need. Let's say you move in and maybe the handles are missing out of the inside of the refrigerator. Okay, you tell the landlord. All right, everything has to be in a reasonable amount of time. I want to tell you, give the landlord a reasonable amount of time to make whatever necessary repair work. I had a lady who had a Tupperware party. Do y'all know what I mean when I said Tupperware party? That was to take out to store your food in the refrigerator. Well, she was having a Tupperware party. And during the Tupperware, this was Friday night, the Tupperware party was on Saturday. On Friday, she was making potato salad. She said she had boiled over 2 dozen of eggs, and she was really making up this potato salad. And then all of a sudden, and this is late at night, she said it was about 9-ish, she heard, and this humming noise. Her refrigerator went out. Her refrigerator went out the night before she was having this party. And the foods that she was naming was all foods that you would make the day before and put in the refrigerator to marinate. She said that she was so upset, didn't know what to do. She called the landlord. Hey, landlord, my refrigerator just went out. I'm having a party tomorrow. And she said she just told the landlord everything. And the landlord said, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm out of town right now, but let me call my maintenance guy. She said, okay, hung up. The landlord did call the maintenance guy, but didn't get a hold of the maintenance guy until Saturday. Okay? So the maintenance guy called the lady and was like, oh, I understand that your refrigerator's out. Let me place an order, because of the way her kitchen is, you got to get a smaller refrigerator than what they have to fit in this particular spot in her house. Well, Sunday come and go. Monday come and go. Tuesday come and go. Here it is Wednesday, she's getting a refrigerator. You think that's a reasonable amount of time? Okay. Some people are saying no. Some people are looking puzzled.
Right.
It's a reasonable amount of time, and let me explain to you why. It's reasonable. The landlord said that he was out of town on Friday night when you called. He did talk to his maintenance person. The maintenance person came and saw your unit and noticed that it needed a smaller size refrigerator from what they had. So they called an order. Sunday, the appliance store was closed. Monday, the appliance store was picking up your refrigerator to bring to town. Tuesday, they called to get scheduled the delivery for Wednesday. And so Wednesday, you got a refrigerator. Let me explain to you what you're not going to do, okay? If this should happen to you, I'll need you all to think and jump into survival mode. And that would be either you're going to get you a clean garbage bag, put all your food in it and put it on ice, or you're going to take your tub, fill it up with ice, put your food in there, or you're going to tell your neighbor that all you have, or your good friend who wouldn't mind storing your food, you're going to tell them all you got is ground beef and hot dogs so they won't eat your steaks, and put it in their refrigerator. You're going to jump into survival mode. You're not going to show me pictures of your molded food. I don't want to see that, okay? And as long as the landlord came within the week, you were fine. So, something that I did when I first moved here, I didn't know anything about utility systems when I first moved here in 2000. And so when my lights got cut off, I just barbecued everything I had into my freezer so it wouldn't go bad. But I need you all to jump into survival mode and not just let your items waste. Well, I didn't say anything like that about don't do it. If you're making your repair work yourself, you should call and talk to that landlord before doing it, before spending money out of pocket, because you're probably going to want that back. Or if you change appliances, is now just going to use the new refrigerator that you paid for, let us know, because it's a little bit different on how we have to do our calculations if you are applying your own appliances, if you're using your own appliances.
Cause I mean, it could be, like you just you could rent a refrigerator, something like that. It's ways.
I wouldn't want you to come out of pocket when it's a landlord's responsibility. But if that's you, and you have to apply your own appliances, just let me know.
Okay.
All right? So, the next thing we're going to do here, on that paper in front of you, it mentioned lead. I want you to go ahead and initial C, D, and E, because C, D, and E talks about that I've given you the pamphlet. Oh, and C, D, and E is on this side here, towards the bottom of the paper of lead. Let you know that I've given you the pamphlet. It's in your folder, and I kind of gone over what it is. Yep, C, D, and E.
Check it.
I put your initials.
Oh, okay.
Put your initials on C, D, and E. And at the bottom, you are the lessee. So you're going to sign and date the middle line. And spouse, you're going to sign and date the middle line on the opposite side. But you're going to sign and date the middle line. All right, on this next page, it says HCV Utility Company Reimbursement Form. Just fill out the first 2 lines only. You're going to print your name, put your date, and then you're going to sign it. And after you've signed it, I want you to put that in your clear plastic folder.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that again?
Yep. The last page is the HCV Utility Company Reimbursement Form.
Okay.
You're just going to fill out just the top 2 lines. And we use this form for if for whatever reason that you have no income, for whatever reason your income stops, then we would use this form to, HUD would apply a certain percentage towards your electric bill every month. So that's why we need that form, or just in case something should happen to you all and you don't have any income anymore. All right. Once you put that in your folder, and again, you're just doing the top 2 lines on that last page, put it in your clear folder with your other information. And once you put it in the clear folder, then I can come collect it. What we're gonna do is just make sure that your birth certificate has the right information that's in our system as well as Social Security card. Thank you. All right, let's talk about this. You remember when I said portability? What you got to do for portability?
Gotta be resident for a year.
Yep, you gotta live in our jurisdiction for a year. Yep, you were saying it. And then I said it's one exception to living in our jurisdiction for a year that I can port you. And I even had you all to pronounce this word, and it was called VAWA. Can y'all say VAWA? You said it, that's right. But let me warn you, and this is for my guy in the back, for my guys in the back. This W can easily turn upside down to be an M, and let me explain what VAWA is. VAWA is the Violence Against Women Act. But then again, us women, we got guns too, okay? We can wrestle and tussle. So that W can easily turn into an M if it's the man that is being violated, okay? So this is all about domestic violence. I got a pamphlet here that speaks about domestic violence. This comes straight from the HUD website. In addition, if you look in your folders, you also have a pamphlet that speaks about domestic violence. Can someone hold up their pamphlet? Yep, you got it. That speaks about domestic violence. Domestic violence is very serious to us. If for whatever reason that you are experiencing domestic violence, that's the only exception to living in our jurisdiction for a year. If you have proof of domestic violence, I will take your voucher and move you anywhere you want to go so you can feel safe. Let me give you an example. I had a guy that lived in another county. He has a bullet in his head. He said he went to the store and then all of a sudden he started seeing the people who he had issues with 20 years ago. And he brought me a statement and what the police has done and a little bit of evidence of what's going on with him after 20 years later, and it's very serious to him. He gave me everything I needed. I grabbed his voucher and I ported him all the way across the U.S. I had another lady who has mixed kids, and it was her family member that broke the straw off the camel's back. Her family member, she came out one day, getting ready to take the kids to school, and there was a busted watermelon on her windshield. I took her voucher and I sent her anywhere she wanted to go to. Domestic violence is not just of the significant other, but as y'all heard in my example, that it can be your family member, your neighbor, someone who's close to you. If you want to claim VAWA, there should be a page on your stuff where there's an application or information that you will fill out. Oh, look at the back. Look at the back, Mama. Yeah, the back of it. That's the part that you will fill out if you are having or in some type of domestic violence situation. Please do not sit there and be a victim, but be a survivor and say something about domestic violence if you are experiencing it. The things I'm going to ask you for is either the ex parte, the 911 report. Sometimes I've seen pictures. Or they had an advocate to speak for them. Whatever the case may be, I want to have proof of the domestic violence before I ship you anywhere where you want to go. And I'm going to tell you, don't ask to just move up the street. Okay? Don't just ask to move up the street if you are wanting to claim VAWA. Okay, that's me taking you, and you probably going somewhere across the state. And I just sent someone over to, it's crazy. So anyway, that's VAWA. You all have a pamphlet in your folder. You all have a lengthy information from HUD about it. It's something that you should know. And as you can tell, all I'm doing is talking about your rights this whole entire time. Because I wish somebody had told me about my rights. And I'm going to tell you an example of it in just a few moments. So now you can take that VAWA information and put it in your folder. Keep it somewhere safe. Just in case if my guy has to fill it out. Yeah. Put it somewhere safe. All right, now we're finna get to the good part. All right, in your folder, behind that chart, it should be something that says request for tenancy. It should be the last thick pack, request for tenancy. This is what you all have been waiting on. Oh. Okay, so it's coming from this side of the room, and maybe a little bit from this side, but someone keeps saying, who's saying this?
Oh, for sure, no doubt.
Who's saying it? Somebody keeps saying it. That's you. Coming in real strong on me. Stop. Okay. Oh, I guess I should have told y'all that in the beginning that I could feel and hear and stuff. That's how I'm so good. Okay. This is your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me give you your answer. I gotta get you quiet now. Gotta get you quiet so I can finish the class. But yeah, that's how much your voucher is worth, y'all. I'm gonna explain to you why your voucher is not worth anything, except for whoever signed it. Maybe you can put it on eBay, your signatures, and probably get a couple dollars. But your voucher is not worth anything, so stop asking. But I'm gonna give you price range to stick with when you do your search.
Okay.
All right?
Oh,
Okay.
Man, hey. I got the budget these days. We a squad 5. I got to.
Yep. All right. So when you go out to look for a place, unless you stand where you are, that's fine. But if you are going out looking for a new place, this is what you're gonna do. When you go out, you're gonna check the doors and make sure that it's stable, that it can lock, right? And not only that, you're gonna step back and you're gonna look to see if you see the sunlight that's coming across on that door, all right? Another thing what you're gonna do is that you're gonna, when you go into that kitchen, you're gonna turn on the water, you're gonna open up the bottom cabinets, put on your flashlight, and you're gonna look down to see if you see anything dripping, or you can put your hands on the pipes to see if anything is dripping, and look to see if you see any mold spots, whether it's black or white now. But you wanna take a look to make sure that it's all safe and that you don't see any discoloration underneath the sink. You're also gonna go into that bathroom, and if it only has a shower only, then you wanna look up and you wanna look at the seal. That's the same thing as the tub. You wanna look to see if you see any mold present. Do anybody know how to get rid of mold?
Bleach.
Say it again.
Bleach.
Exactly, bleach water. In your pamphlet, in your red folder. Somebody wanna pull it out? I got a pamphlet in it that talks about mold as well.
I'm allergic to Clorox, but I use Dawn dishwasher.
And it works?
And I don't have that much. I have the north side. This clean, it comes in my window with the patio. No big problem. It works.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you got the pamphlet that talks about mold. And if you got little nieces and nephews, once you spread, and they say when you spread, that they can get a kick out of it disappearing right in front of them. So it's bleach water is what you would use to get rid of mold. And just like my mama just here said that she used Dawn a little bit to get rid of it. She has a little bit of issue with it, not so heavy. But normally what we would need to do is just use bleach water a little bit here and there and watch it just disappear right in front of your face. So that's how you do with mold. When I come out to do the inspection, one of the things that I'm gonna do, if you got a porch, is I'm gonna step on that porch and I'm gonna wiggle. And if that porch go with me, then that landlord is gonna have to fix and stabilize that porch a little bit. That's what I'm gonna do. I also look around the outside of the unit, make sure that you don't have any broken windows or where animals can get underneath your home is what I'll be looking for, and also making sure that your unit is safe. It is it's my responsibility to make sure that you are living in a unit that is safe. If it's not safe, I'm not going to have you to move in it, just like that, because you all are very important to us, and I'm explaining to you in a little bit. This is the packet that you would give to the new landlord when you find a place that you wanted to rent. And you have done all of those testers and you say it is all safe, this is the one I want, then you and I right now is going to get this packet together, whereas you'll be able to give it to the new landlord of a place of where you want to move into. All right? On the cover sheet, the landlord has options. They can either email it to us, they can fax it to us. Our address is here so they can physically either drop it off here in our office or mail it in. So our contact information is here at the bottom, as well as the top of the letterhead as well. So let's flip the page. In box number 1, it should be our little sticker to show that that this paperwork belongs to Mo 198, Mid-Missouri Public Housing Agency. That's what should be already stamped in number 1. Number 2, the new landlord is going to write in the address that you want to turn into Section 8 or where you want to live. So, Mama, in your case, Lola, is it Lola? Rankin Mills, is it Lola?
My name?
No, the manager people.
Elena.
Okay.
Elena or Lana.
Yeah.
Lana.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
But they will put in the address of where you want to turn into Section 8 on line number 2.
Okay.
All right. As y'all see, the landlord will continue to fill this out, letting us know if you're living in a single-family home, or a low-rise to high-rise, a garden-up, manufactured home is what the landlord is having to answer to say what type of unit that you are wanting to move in. Here's something very important. It is not until I get this packet back to see how the landlord filled this out, will I compare to your income to know if you qualify for the unit. I do not know if you qualify for the unit, not until after you have filled out the bottom, until after the landlord has filled out the bottom, letting me know the fuel type that's in that unit. Some unit has both electric and gas, some all electric, some mainly gas. I need to know that. And I cannot tell you if you are qualified for the unit, not until I get this packet back for me to compare what the landlord says to your income. Some landlords will take care of the water, sewage, and trash. Some landlords won't. So again, it's not until I get this back that I can compare with your income to know if you qualify or not. Let's flip the page. On the next page, the boxes that's on the right, on the left-hand side, they are not tic-tac-toe boxes. This is not a game. But the boxes is what the landlord uses to compare the unit that you're looking at versus other units that he has somewhat similar, and he is letting us know how much rent he's charging them. The point of this is to know that if he's charging you or charging the other people $500, then he did not just see your voucher and say, oh, $1,000 rent. Okay, so this is what this part of the paperwork is all about. I'm needing to see how much he is charging other people and how much versus how much he's charging you for the same type of home. All right. Down here at the bottom on the right-hand side, you right now is getting ready to fill this out because I'm helping you to get this paperwork ready for the new landlord. So you right now on the right-hand side, I need you right now to put in your name, sign, and this is for the head of household, put in the address, the telephone number, and the date. It is the landlord that fills out the left, but you right now is going to fill out the right.
Where we live right now.
Right now. I'm going to help you get the paperwork ready for the new landlord. On this page, this is called a unit data summary. Your new landlord will fill this page out, giving us a little bit more information about the unit you are wanting to rent. Like for instance, it's asking if it has ceiling fans, blinds, garage, garbage disposal, or washing machine. It's asking for more information about the unit, and your landlord will fill this out, and again, reiterating at the bottom of the utilities that are in that unit that you're wanting to rent. Flip the page. All right, so there is 2 forms in this packet, the reason why the landlord may not give you this packet back to give to us. If that is the case, make sure that you, 1, follow up with that landlord first to make sure that he sent it to us. And then 2, make sure that we did receive this packet, because, and here is the important part, as soon as I get this request for tenancy, how much am I about to work? Once I get this request for tenancy paperwork back from the landlord, what I mean by that, you only got 60 days. But as soon as I get this packet back, it stops your clock. Okay? So this is the reason why, if the landlord is going to give us this packet and not give it to you, you follow up with that landlord first to make sure that he sent it, and then follow up with us to make sure we received it, because once we're doing too fast. All right. Let's say you turn this in on the 40th day. We do the calculations. Oh, it don't work. How many more days you got left?
20.
Y'all got it. Thank you. Thank you very much. You got it. All right. This page right here, however, is the first page, the reason why the landlord may not give it to you. Because on this is a W-9 form. So it depends if the landlord got a real business, or maybe he's small time and just using his social security number. But he's going to either put in his social security number here or his federal tax ID number, which is very sensitive information. So this is the first page, the reason why the landlord may not give you this packet to give to us. Just make sure you follow up with him that he sent it, and then give us a call to make sure we got it. Don't call me first. Don't call me first. Somebody here gonna call me first. Don't call me first. Check out with the landlord first. Let's flip the page. This is the second sensitive page of why the landlord may not give this back to us. You see what it says at the bottom? All the way at the bottom?
Remember to attach a void check.
Yep. So if your new landlord or your existing is wanting their HCV check sent to them, direct deposit into a banking account, they will put in their banking information and also add a voided check. So this is the second page that is very sensitive, as is the reason why the landlord may not give to you to give to us. But just make sure you follow up. I cannot say that enough. Let's flip the page. Does this page look familiar to you? Tell me something about it. Huh?
No.
Did I skip
No,
the
you
page?
skipped
It's
the page.
fraud. Ain't it?
You done went way, you done skipped the page.
No, it's the fraud.
That's right, tell me something.
Which side? The right side or the left?
Tell me whatever, what you know about this?
The landlord fraud?
What
If
you know
try
about
to collect extra money, you
Okay.
need to be notified.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. Tell me, somebody else tell me something.
Don't mow the grass for the landlord and then try to charge him.
Get everything
Unless
in
you got it in
writing. Get everything.
Unless you got it in writing that you're gonna do odd jobs for him, you just get it in writing. I had someone to do odd jobs for the landlord, and the landlord flipped it all on them, saying I wasn't gonna pay you. So get it in writing, okay? What else? Okay, I got 2 from this side, give me 2 from this side. Give me something about fraud.
Some that rent your place out to somebody else and you're not in that property.
Yep. Okay, one more from this side.
not reporting the income.
Yeah, that's a big one. My girls are good. We got a software we put in how much you made and how much when it started. It tells us how much that you pay back. So yes, don't do it. Okay? Y'all know what the fines are if you do it?
Yes.
The numbers 1 through 5. Okay, anybody got 10 grand? You go ahead and give it up to me now. Okay. If not, go ahead and sign it. What you're going to do, head of household is going to sign the middle line, and that the spouse is going to sign the date, the bottom line. The whole purpose of you all signing this paperwork again is because now your landlord signature is going to be on this. So now I have both yours and your landlord's signature on this paperwork. So if any one of you all commit fraud, I will send you this paperwork, copy of this paperwork with your name highlighted and what it was that you did wrong. So don't do anything wrong, because that's what's going to happen. All right. The next one. Somebody was ahead of me. Now here it is. What's the paperwork? It talks about
The lead.
lead. Did I give y'all a pamphlet?
Yes.
Initial CD&E. Go ahead, initial CD&E, because I gave you all the pamphlet. I explained a little bit about lead. You know how dangerous it is. Our agency contacts the health department, give them all of our addresses to see if anybody is poisoned with lead, because you all are very important to us, and I'm gonna tell you all the reason why. And girl, don't you have that baby in here?
I'm not.
Okay. She's gonna push you outside.
I got like a week and a half.
Ooh, girl,
You better get to talking.
I am really like, okay.
You're gonna go in
okay.
Chicago mode. We're gonna be all done with this in a
I
second.
am okay. I'm working. I'm breathing it out over here. I am.
Did you initial CD?
Yes, and sign the middle line.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Yeah, that baby gonna be talking to me too.
Yes, you must feel me.
I do. Like, rental assistance payment is the next page. With this paper, what does this paper mean? Do you all remember? Do not move into the new unit, not until you are told to do so. This is a business for the landlord, okay? If that landlord tries to tell you to turn on the utilities so the unit can pass inspection, don't do it. The only thing that is okay, it's okay for you to put a deposit down for the unit. It's okay for you to do that. Make sure you get a receipt, just in case it don't work. And I want you to know that some landlords do charge a fee for the application. So just want you to be aware of it. Head of household, sign and date the top line, spouse, sign and date the middle line. And it's you knowing that do not move into a new place. And mama, you can go ahead and sign and date the top line. Let you know that do not move into your new location, not until you hear from us that it's okay to do so.
I have allergies, that's why I'm coughing.
Okay, be good. Okay, everybody, I'm left-handed, so don't talk about me. But I'm getting ready to draw something up here on this board. Okay. Whew. We're done with that. I've heard Dunn's calf, I haven't heard it all. Okay, pyramid, all right? This is a pyramid. This is a triangle. That's what this is. All right, let's do this. On this side of the triangle, you got your landlord. On this side of the triangle, you got your PHA, which is us. Who you think is at the top?
We are clients.
Tenants.
You are at the top of this pyramid. Let me explain why. We have been looking at your name, checking things off ever since you put in your application, all right? Some of you took you a couple of years, some of you were a little longer, all right? But we have been looking at your name from the time that you applied. We put your name in our system. Then you go on our waiting list. Then we have paperwork that you filled out in drawers and dates of when you applied. And you are very important to us, meaning that I have already put a check mark by your name that you came here, that you was invited. My girls went downstairs and put a check by your name because you came. I'm going to keep putting check marks by your name when you move in, when you are there for 90 days, 180 days, and every year. I'm going to be mentioning you. That's why you are so very important to us. Now, let's talk about binding contracts. What's the contract between you and the landlord?
Lease.
You got it. You been in this before?
No.
Is the lease. Now tell me, what contract is between you and us?
Voucher.
And the contract between us and the landlord is called HAP, which stands for Housing Assistance Payments, because they get a check from us every month. All right? This next page that you're looking at, what does it say up at the top?
Tennessee.
Yeah. It says Tennessee Addendum. Tennessee Addendum is what that's called. And let me tell you all something, because I didn't know it until I started working working for housing in 2017. But the way you read this is go down in columns. That's how you will read this. It is 5 pages long. I want everybody to go to the 5th page. And nope. Just want you to turn to the 5th page. That's it. You see where it says signature, tenant signature, and landlord signature? Do not sign it. I want you to fold it. Fold this last page.
Like that?
I'm not telling you which
However
way.
you want to.
I want to see how your brain works. Yep. Sometimes I see people fold it this way. I've seen people fold it like this, or I've seen people do it like this. I don't tell you which way. I just want you to do it. Just fold it, and I just get a kick out of seeing how you fold it. But I'm having you to fold this because this is very important information. Because this Tennessee Addendum, what it does, it trumps your lease, trumps that HAP contract, and trumps that voucher. Do y'all know what I mean when I say trumps? Do I got any card players? Trumps?
Takes it all. The Trump takes all the other, if you play.
That's right.
Trump takes it all.
Y'all want to ask? Y'all want anybody
Well, I
answer?
don't even know what they call it, but yeah.
Yes.
Trump always takes it.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm not talking about the ex-president either. But what I mean by trumps is that anything that is in this Tennessee Addendum, if it go against whatever I say is on your voucher, on your lease, or on a HAP contract, this overrides everything. True story. We got another story. Like I told you all, I was on Section 8. All right, so my story was that when I left, told my mom I was grown, I'm moving to Chicago, I stayed in Salvation Army for a few weeks. I applied to get on Section 8 and to get onto the housing. So me and my 1-year-old, we stayed in Salvation Army for 3 weeks in Jeff City. After that, I was able to get my voucher, and then they moved me to what it was called Chocolate City, Buena Vista. And I stayed there, and then after that, I got my voucher and I moved on. I moved on and lived in a place on Ashley in Jeff City. I lived there, found a huge apartment building. I mean, huge. I had a 2-bedroom voucher, but I found a 4-bedroom within the 2-bedroom voucher range, which that's what you can do too. So I had a 2-bedroom voucher, but I found a 4-bedroom that was really cheap. So, and my 2-bedroom voucher covered it. Huge place. the owners were elderly and they sold it. The new owners came in and says, I want you to move. Not only that, they were gonna move me to Columbia. They moved me to Columbia. If I would have read this Tennessee addendum, which I want everyone to do, which you have to do, I would have learned that I did not have to move. I could have waited until my lease was up. Then I could move. No one told me to read this. No one told me what my rights were. So I'm underneath the impression that I have to do whatever this landlord says. But that's not true. That's why you all, when you at a time when you can, you all are going to read this Tennessee addendum. It's 5-page long, but it gives you your rights. Read it. It lets you know exactly how much the landlord can get over on you or not. The same thing with us and you to the landlord and us too as well. Read it, read it, read it. That's why it's very important, and you are not going to sign it in front of me. Y'all got it?
Yes.
Guess what? If you turn in this packet and that page is inside, guess what's going on with your clock? It's still going. It's still going. And I'm going to tell you, there's going to be somebody in here that's going to turn it in without it being signed. Somebody is. I just want you to know that your clock will still be ticking. All right? It stops when I get this completed form. All right? So let me go to the end with the 5-page document of this Tennessee addendum. The next thing you see, what does it say up at the top?
Inspection checklist.
It should say domestic violence.
What?
It should say the lease addendum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what, okay.
Mm-hmm. So again, we want you all to be safe. We want you to be survivors and not victims. This right here piece of paper that the landlord must sign tells the landlord that if you have to claim VAWA, he is not supposed to go after you for the remainder of the rent owed throughout the lease. But I can tell you that deposit that you put down, you may not get that back. The landlord is signing this, stating that he understands that if you have to claim VAWA, he is not supposed to sue you for the remainder of the rent owed, but he's supposed to let you go. But I can tell you, you're not going to get that deposit. I just know you won't. I only had one landlord that didn't want to sign this, but he ended up signing it. But yeah, because the landlords don't like this page because, again, it tells them that if you have to claim VAWA, then they're going to be out of money, technically. Next page. It talks about inspection. We want you to know that we want you to be safe. That's why CMCA, Missouri Public Housing Agency, says that there must be a working smoke detector in every bedroom. And the working smoke detector in every level of the home. If you have a gas stove or the garage is connected to the unit, you must have a carbon monoxide detector. CMCA is the only one that I know of that makes sure that their families are very safe by having multiple fire alarms in a unit. Because again, we want to make sure you are safe. You are very important to us. All right, that's the last page I have on my page. Some of you may have another one. And that other paperwork is for, anybody else got another one? No, I see you don't. Let's see, what's the last page of the landlord packet?
Inspection checklist is your last one.
Oh, because I'm going out doing the inspection. All right. So y'all, I'm going out doing inspections. So whenever you find your new unit that you want to move into, you are supposed to give this packet to that new landlord for the new landlord to fill out on their part, and they're going to send it in to us. And it's not until we come out to inspect that unit and make sure that it's safe will we allow you to move in. You were my first class. The other ones, there was a alternate inspection because of COVID, but we're coming back out now. So COVID is not stopping us for new move-in inspection. So even your home, we're coming out to inspect.
Okay, so this is what I give to my landlord.
Yep. Yep, tell them to fill it out. And then you turn it back in. Oh my goodness, it feels like we're getting. It should be another one. All right, I'm gonna let y'all know everything else that's in your folder. I got something to get you started on your search. I have a landlord list. I can tell, listen to me when I say this. I don't know if it's all updated. I don't know if they have units available. You call. But this is a list of landlords. If you are searching for a new place to live, I have it broke down within counties as well. Some landlords have two. On the back of the first page, $11 down on the back of the first page. If you should see the name Joe Taylor, scratch him off. He sold all his units. So scratch Joe Taylor name off of your list because he sold all of his units to someone else. All right. This is a list just to get you started. It's not a list for you to stick with. Remember, if you're doing the internet, be very careful because you never know who's on the other end. Even if you got to take somebody with you as a support, just make sure you let the landlord know, hey, this person's not moving in with me, but I just have them here with me as a support person to help me with my search. Please do not take 10 kids with you. And I'm sorry if anybody in here got 10 kids. I mean, like, you may want to find a babysitter for the children. It don't take a whole lot of people with you when you're doing the search because you would scare the landlord. Especially when they go in through the unit, they're talking about, oh, this is my bedroom, this is going to be my bedroom. No, you're going to scare off the landlords.
What was the name you said to mark off?
Joe Taylor.
What county?
He in Cole County. And he was on the back of the first page. And I think I said like the 11th down.
I see Joe Taylor Rader.
Scratch him out. He sold all his units.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Also, I have another list here that shows the cities and the state that we all covered, the city and the counties that we all covered. So if it's not on here, we probably don't cover it, all right? Like you don't see Boone County on here and you don't see Ardrey County on here. I have a bonus for you. All right, so you're going to give this packet to who? When you find a place that you want to, that you want to rent. You all, I got one here for you too. I got something special for you. Here, you take one, pass it down, and any extras, just leave them down. I have a very special gift for you. Now, I'm not telling you this so you can start conning the landlords, but turn to the next page, turn to the second page so you can see my flyer. I'm sorry, I should have had it in color. I didn't hit the color button. We right now have a landlord incentive going on.
What were we looking for? What page?
Here, this one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
Thank you.
Yep. That first page contains a letter to me, to the landlord. The second paper is a flyer that is going to be posted all around our counties, everywhere. It's posted right now in all of our CMCA offices, and soon it will be in every food bank, whatever places, okay? I'm not trying to tell you to con the landlords, but you can sure tell the landlords, if you house me, you can get $500. Because it's true. We are right now giving $500 to landlords that house new families, okay? Not our existing ones, but our new ones like you, all right? So as soon as you sign a lease, you move in, the landlord's gonna fill out a couple of pages for me, and I'm gonna give him $500 for housing you. All right, so that's something no one else had either, because we just started this. We're using our CARES Act money. Instead of putting it within the agency, we're giving it out, okay? So I'm giving it to the landlords, is what I'm gonna do.
Should I give it to mine, since I've been there
That's
for
right.
9 years?
But you new to us,
Okay.
so yes, they will get $500 as well. Any questions about that? Y'all have been a fun group. I tell you, I got more stuff in your folder. You all can go over at your leisure. I normally tell people put your red folder in a place where you know you're gonna sit there the longest, wherever that may be. But go through the information. My email address is here, housing@cmca.us. This is the same email address that the landlord can choose to send his packet back to, or any of ours that's listed on the front page of that landlord packet. You are more than welcome to contact me if you have any questions. Please, please do not be surprised if it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning I'm responding. That's just the way I work sometimes. Okay? No question? Y'all ready?
I have an autistic son,
Mm-hmm.
and so they was to come in to try to, cause somebody tries to leave out the house, or is it up to y'all? Cause they said they'll help me with getting locks.
Who said that?
Oh, yeah, good.
Michael Thompson Center.
Oh, okay.
That's told that that he help with assistance and stuff like that. Do y'all have
Good.
to do that?
No,
No? Okay.
no, be safe.
Now, that's a really good question, because I got autistic kids too. My question is, if we're making alterations to the apartment because of that, you know what I'm saying, locks, windows,
Yeah.
doors, cabinets, all that.
Yeah.
If we making those alterations, we need to get those specific, details put in writing.
It'd be nice that you record it, letting us know what you've done, and when you leave, turn it back to how you found it.
Okay.
Just turn it back. Yeah, we have someone who changed the door frames to the bathroom and the front door because they had a wheelchair.
Right.
But and they put a ramp up to the unit. They just have to take it all back with them.
That'd be translated.
Yep, get a permission from the landlord. I'm pretty sure if the landlord say, I mean, if it's a real situation, I'm sure the landlord is not gonna turn you down. But just make sure you let them know that you're gonna turn it back to how you found it. Don't forget about that tape recorder by looking around, looking at your units, even before you move in and afterwards too. We almost just about done. We have your vouchers here for those that has everything. I'm gonna take half, and Amanda's gonna take half, and we are going to show you how many bedrooms that you are eligible for. And I almost forgot to explain about. Last page. Yep. Last page. I promise you. Yep, you got it. All right, everybody see this chart?
Yeah.
Okay. So Amanda and I, when we come give you your voucher, we're gonna talk to you individually, but I want you to kind of get an idea, especially for that person who wanted to ask me how much the voucher was worth, but here it is. Here it is. Let's say, I need everybody to get this piece of paper out. I got yours out already for you.
Thank you.
All right. So on this chart, the way you read it, you see it says 1, 2, 3, 4 bedroom up the top. I need you to always go down how many numbers of bedrooms. If it's a 4-bedroom voucher you have, you need to drop down $400 of what you see. So for instance, if you were living in Cole County and you have a 2-bedroom voucher, you need to drop down $200 for what the amount that you see there, and know that your limit is about $546. I'm gonna do another one. If it's Howard, let's say I'm living in Howard County, I got a 3-bedroom voucher As you see, Howard County said I can go up to 1029, but I still have a 3-bedroom voucher. I need to drop down $300, so that's $729. I'm gonna give you one, and I want to hear you all answer. You got a 2-bedroom voucher in Osage. 2-bedroom voucher, and you living in Osage.
546.
That you drop down $200. So down here at the bottom, I gave more examples on how you do that. I gave you more examples on how you do that. And again,
What do you mean by drop down? I'm confused now. I'm trying to understand what.
Just minus $200.
Per bed, $100 per bedroom.
Yeah, I'm like, where's she getting these numbers from? I'm like,
I said,
I'm so lost.
in the middle, I got to determine your rent range, you would need to go down $100 for each bedroom listed on your voucher.
Okay.
And the examples are below. So if somebody wants to live in Osage County, they got a 3-bedroom voucher, then the rent should be no more than
$791. Cause we dropping down $100 for each bedroom. So it'd be $791.
But I'm in Osage County.
Oh, I'm sorry. $716.
You good? I know you read it though.
I was looking
You might
at
have
the
been
Callaway
County.
at the top. I'm like,
But you know how to read
what?
it? All right. So again, I got examples down here at the bottom for you. So that's how you know how much your rent range is. Amanda, is everybody getting vouchers today? Yeah. So everybody here is going to get a voucher today, which is awesome. I'm going to take half of her stack, and we're going to call you up, and we're going to give you your vouchers.